listening. I'm like, y'all ask me questions. I talk all the time. So I'm going to frame our conversation today. And Remy, did you need to do any kind of overview, or are you just gonna pass this bad baby over to me to jump in?
Yeah, I can
Allie, were
pass it
you
right
driving
to.
and listening? You better be careful, girl. I
Okay,
get
yes,
so
everyone
sorry.
be.
My mama bear just kicked in. I was all like, wait, is she driving?
I'm sure it's a green screen and we're all fine.
Okay.
Um,
All
yeah,
right.
this is just for the fun of it. But yes, the introduction, obviously, Ty, for those of you that are not here right now and have not met her up to this point, she is going to be joining us to talk about giving circles. She's from Philanthropy Together and has actually been a part of Philanthropy Together. And now you've been there for, was it 6 years?
Almost, friends, since the beginning.
It's
2020.
been a while, been quite a few times. So yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to her. She's gonna go through what giving circles are in general, what their kind of application is for youth, what we're looking for, and then she's just gonna be able to answer questions and see what this means for all TPI affiliates, for young people, and in general. So I'll hand it right off to you.
Excellent. Now, I'm Nora. Hello, everyone. Allie, you make sure you keep your eyes on the road. Glad you're joining us. And Janet, Sarah, I see you in a chat. I'm super grateful, and I'm always happy just to be in community, y'all, especially at a time right now where we need one another. And so, super happy and honored. Remy, thank you for having me. I love the three pillars. We've been Remy and I've been friends for quite some time now. I feel like as long as we've been around or something, at least three
Yeah.
years, talking about partnering and how we can bring, the model of giving circles and the spirit of collective giving to what you all are learning about. And so I'm honored to be here with you today. Today I am going to talk at y'all for about 10 to 15. Probably, actually, let me stop lying. I'm going to talk at you for about 15 to 20 minutes. I promise. I'm going to talk at you, okay? And then I'm going to pause and then we're going to talk together. But I do want to make sure that my goal in this very beginning is to expose y'all to what is a giving circle. I'm not going to make any assumptions on like what y'all know about them or anything like that. So I'm going to do some grounding, talk about the what is a giving circle, why giving circles are super important, and then the how giving circles, youth-led giving circles are moving, organizing, and then we'll open it up for Q&A and just for our conversation, okay? Let me share my screen. And this says allow. I normally use Zoom, but can y'all see this? Y'all gonna have to help me. Yes? Okay. Woo. Hi, I'm Ty, based in Dallas. I should say that a little bit about me real quick. Outside of my role of Senior Director of Community here, I am the immediate past chair of the first Black Giving Circle that was established here in my home state of Texas. Y'all, we started in 2017. So I'm coming with a dual hat. I want y'all to know that I'm an expert, giving circle expert by way of Philanthropy Together, but I've been around this movement well before Philanthropy Together even started, organizing and with my sisters to move money to small grassroots organizations that serve women and girls in North Texas. So just a little bit about me, a little bit about Philanthropy Together. We are a initiative, essentially. We're a global initiative to scale and strengthen collective giving. So we started smack in the middle of COVID, y'all. April 2020, we went live. Who does that? We did. Our good team of five. I'm part of the founding team that was recruited. We're an initiative that started by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to really grow this movement. And that includes young folks. I'm a mother of five, so this conversation is very timely. What that means of us growing and strengthening the movement of collective giving worldwide is we provide trainings and have conversations and workshops just like this. We tell stories of giving circles so that y'all can know that there's real ones that exist. And so y'all can model and be inspired by the ones that are out there. We conduct research, which I'm actually going to talk about a little bit later. We host events. Overall, we build community and bring people together. That's us. I told you kind of what we are going to go through today, a little bit of background, the what, the why, the how, time for questions. Now let's get into this real quick. I like to slow down this very beginning piece because a lot of folks come to me and they're like, thank y'all so much for starting Giving Circles. This is an amazing movement. And I'm like, oh, Thank you for those flowers, but we did not start giving circles. I stand on the shoulders. We stand on the shoulders of all of our ancestors, y'all, people way before the beginning of time. We've been using this model. We just never referred to it as a giving circle. But our parents, our grandparents, y'all probably have stories of your friends and stuff, great great grandparents that pooled resources. They came together. They provided food for one another. They provided shelter to help raise each other's kids. It's all rooted in the spirit of collectivism. Collectivism is basically rooted in community and justice and collective action. And so that's the spirit of collective giving. It is a baby. It's a baby of collectivism, which is rooted in us just kind of taking care of one another. And so when we talk about the term giving circles, this is what we mean. Okay. Giving circles is a model, very straightforward model. Many people coming together like us here, groups of people coming together that have very shared values. I should lift that up. We are aligned in our shared values, generosity being one of them, community, the desire to give back, all that kind of stuff. So many people come together. Everyone in the group gives. Now, what they give looks different, circle to circle. Some give $25, some give $1 a day, some give 1,000, some give millions in the giving circle, like women moving millions, right? And so the goal is though for everybody to contribute. And then once everyone contributes to that pot of money, the group collectively, the same way that we collectively pool those funds, we collectively decide where they should be deployed in community. So it really is, the model is a disruptor of the current institutional way in how philanthropy is done, where you have very rich people deciding where resources are going, right? From the top down. This gives us agency and power from the bottom up. And I actually hate saying from the bottom up because there's nothing bottom about us, but I'll just say from the people up. Does that make sense? So people up, the goal is multiply impact. Allie, I know you're not a millionaire yet, but within a group, we could give $1 million over our time span, right? And so that's this beautiful model. And so giving circles, y'all, is just one expression of the term collective giving. So if y'all hear me using them kind of interchangeably, just know that in the world of collective giving, there's different terms. Women's funds. Have y'all here in North Texas, in Dallas, we have North Texas Giving Day, or maybe y'all have a Giving Day or Giving Tuesday. Have y'all heard of stuff? Yeah, lots of head nods. All of those are collective giving, right? So giving circles is a expression, just one form of expression of collective giving. So just naming that. And I also want to lift this slide up because giving circles, although it's not new, it is a term that's very American. Okay. So here in the States, we'll say giving circles, and people are like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. But if we head over to Korea, they're going to say, what? They'll say gay, or in the West African or Caribbean traditions, they refer to it as susu or tanda in Mexico. So just knowing that this is a global movement, y'all. We're in this together around this spirit of us pulling resources together. So just being mindful that the term might vary depending on the place that you're talking about, okay? So, but what is the giving circle? All right, Ty, you told me how the model works, but what is it? Giving circles really they're thriving. And I should say this, I can brag a little bit. Giving circles are the fastest growing form of philanthropy in the United States, period. A lot of funders, people are like, tell us more. We're being reached out to left and right because this gives agency to the people. Giving circles are a brilliant social collaborative experience for us to be very much more intentional, thoughtful, and strategic around where we give instead of just the random, just picking something out of a hat. It pauses us a little bit to learn deeper about our communities, about our neighbors' issues, and be very mindful of where we want to deploy those resources collaboratively. A social giving experience, collaborative giving experience is a giving circle that's really deeply rooted in values. And our values, I feel like I'm a person that I don't think we talk about values enough. Our values can connect us in such a polarized, very divisive spirit nation that we have right now, I think if we talk about our values a little bit more, we'll see those things kind of peel away. Y'all with me? So giving circles are, we talk about our values, and there's a big reason for that, because there are 4 anchoring values to start a giving circle that I want to plug in. The first one is belonging. In order to even start a giving circle, the first step is you have to gather the people. You got to bring people together. Well, how am I going to bring people together, Ty? Well, build community with people by by bringing folks together around those values, those shared values, and that creates a sense of belonging. That's a value, y'all, that has to be in a giving circle. If people don't feel like they belong in the circle, they just won't join, or they'll opt out, or they won't engage. So the spirit of belonging has to be, it's the number one step and baked into a giving circle. Okay. And it's actually directly tied to the tactical steps. So I'm kind of bridging values and tactical steps of a giving circle. Gather is the actual tactical step. The value is belonging, right? The second value of a giving circle that also doubles as a step is discourse. We talk a lot in giving circles, okay, like a lot, but it's for good reason. Remember what I told y'all earlier? It's a social collaborative experience, right? And so we are going to gather so that we can talk, have some intentional conversations about issue causes that we're excited about. Basically, we learn about each other's experiences, perspectives, issues, all of the good stuff. We gather around those conversations, and that learning is a core value that then helps us to engage in very intentional discourse. So there's that discourse and learning. The third value and step of a giving circle, once we gather, once we discourse, like talk, discuss, that's 2. 3 is now we have to trust one another. And I'll tell you why we put trust here, because think about it for a second. At this third step of trust, now we are pooling resources. Now this is at the stage, the third step of a giving circle is when we're giving our money. In my circle, we have a $500 contribution level. This is annually, 1,000 and 2,500. Members can self-select. But guess what? We split it up into monthly payments, but we're giving into that pot of money before we even know what organization is going to receive the funds. Y'all see that? So trust is like innately built into a giving circle, because you're trusting that the group will be good stewards of the money even before it's being deployed out, right? And so trust is at the heart, and it is a deep core value of a giving circle, and it's also a part of the decision making, choice, and agency to the group. So this is a very practical way in how we are deciding. Sorry, I didn't move the third thing, y'all. Trust, and how we are deciding and moving money out, right? And so we center trust. We're like, okay, we're all in. All right, let's do this. Money in a pot. And then we all decide collectively where those funds are going to go, trusting each other that we're going to make the best use of our gift. The last fourth step of a giving circle is abundance. And that goes back to what I was telling y'all earlier about the model. Impact multiplied. Money is moved out the door. Many giving circles do not stop there. That's what makes us different. This right here is differential of a giving circle, as opposed to folks are like, why wouldn't I just give to directly on a website? Well, you can, but you wouldn't have that multiplied impact, your contribution times the amount of people that's in the group. And then many giving circles ask the nonprofit, which what we refer to them now as our grantee partners. We say, what else? What other ways and how we can support y'all through our time, our talents, which is your skills, our ties, which is connections, because y'all connect the grantee partner through our testimony. Can you follow them? Can you post about their work on social? All that stuff, right? It's the 5 T's is where this comes up, where we say, what else beyond our gift can we give to amplify our impact? So those are like the 4 core steps, y'all, of a giving circle. The model is extremely broadly applicable to all kinds of groups, whether you work for a community foundation, I've helped start many giving circles at community foundations. I just helped start a corporate organization that started 21 giving circles last year. That blew my mind. Nonprofits start giving circles to help with their fundraising. They bring groups of donors to support their nonprofit, and even youth. What y'all do? The three pillars: activating the next generation. I am a big advocate for us starting more youth-led giving circles. Now, you might be asking, why do people, okay, in addition to I see the model, it feels good, but why do most people start it? Why though? Well, this is about us supporting local community-based organizations. Okay. This is about us building community. We're trying to bring people together around philanthropy that doesn't feel transactional. And so this is us kind of challenging the status quo, being disrupt, getting into a little good trouble, as John Lewis would say. We're getting into a little good trouble, right? We're acting as first funders. We're shifting the power dynamics of resources. That's one of my favorite ones. We have power to shift where money is being moved to. Well, giving circles help us to do that. So let me also say this. In 2023, we did a landscape. I told y'all Philanthropy Together, we also do research, right? Well, in 2023, we did a landscape research to just get a feel for like what's going on in the nation with Giving Circle. How many circles is it? What are they funding? We did a research. And out of that research, y'all, one of the things that blew our mind that came up was how people are owning the word that they are philanthropists. It's starting to not just move money to resources, but based off the member testimonies, there's something internal that was happening with the members themselves. They start saying, I started using the word philanthropist more. I start seeing myself as philanthropist. I updated my resume. I start owning the fact that I am a philanthropist. We were like, whoa. So we actually saw in that research a 50% increase and people of color, especially, that are coming into philanthropy by way of joining or starting a giving circle. That's amazing. Because think about when you think about who is a philanthropist. I kid you not, I asked my kids this one day, and the first thing he said was Bill Gates. And I was like, how? Like, how did you not say Granny or me or your dad? He said Bill Gates first, right? So there's something, and he's 8. Cash is 8. And I'm like, first of all, how do you know about Bill Gates? But anyway, it's another subject. But I was thinking like the narrative, right? The narrative around who is a philanthropist. This is helpful. The more people of color, more everyday people like you and I that can own that narrative, then we can start really disrupting how resources are moved, right? If we own the fact that we are philanthropists. Also in that research, it showed us that members' mental health, the wellness, enhanced. 55% of them said that they felt that like giving feels good. No surprise there, right? 83% of them said that they feel more confident. So when we talk about youth, where our youth really feel like they don't have a voice in this moment of like, or that they feel like on the sidelines, I can't think of a better model. I can't think of a better model to bring youth voice and agency into philanthropy so they can have a say so in how resources are deployed. And not even that, it doubles down as civic engagement. Because if they're giving their time, they're giving their money, they're volunteering, that also strengthens our democracy. Anyway, I won't go on and on, but 91% felt a sense of belonging and community. So I feel like everyone just needs to join a giving circle and we'll all be okay. And we can love each other and be happy as a nation again or something. I don't know. Generosity is making us happy, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Also from that research, this is just, I won't go through every one of them, but just know that members said that when they are part of a giving circle, they are more educated. They are moving from uninformed to their understanding about childhood poverty, about climate justice and Chicago. They're learning deeply about issues that they wouldn't have learned about. They're learning about organizations that they wouldn't have learned about. We're moving resources from like the big box organizations like Salvation Army, no shade. I know I'm recorded. Hi, Salvation Army, we love y'all. But it's moving into local diaper pantries and after school programs and those very small grassroots organizations that are the backbone of our communities, right? Many of them are like, hey, I'm not on the sideline anymore. I feel like I'm an upstander. I'm not a bystander. from sidelines to actually getting into community organizing, from isolation to community, from harmful practices to more helpful allocation of resources, from being disengaged to showing up in community. All of this is happening within giving circles. And now I'm not just talking out of my throat. We have documented data via a 58-page report around these things. And so this is the movement, y'all, real quick. Collective giving. In 2017, there was 1,600 giving circles. Fast forward, when we did that 2023 research, there's over 4,000. That's why they're saying this is the fastest growing form of philanthropy. Y'all see that? That's a 61% increase in a collective giving group since 2016. That's wow. There's over 4,000 giving circles, and youth giving circles, which I'm going to highlight a couple of them here shortly, is a big piece of that. We moved from 150, engaging 150 philanthropists to 370. Amazing, amazeballs. From $1.3 billion to collectively moving $3.1 billion. So this movement, no wonder it's the fastest growing form of philanthropy. It's also hella effective. It is also very effective. Okay, and so Remy, I'll share with you like the link so people can nerd out on the research report at your own time. I also want to say that this movement, I'm really talking about the why. We know what a giving circle is. Now I'm talking about the why. It's important. It's important for our own mental health, for us to build community, to move resources, but also it's important because we have some terrible gaps in funding. Did y'all know that? I mean, terrible. And when I smile to keep from crying. Last year, there was over $500 billion that was allocated in charitable gifts. Only 8% of that went to communities of color. Only 1.8% went to causes that support women and girls. So organizations that's providing, mentorship programs from girls or toiletries and feminine care products for girls, 1.8%. 0.28% went to LGBTQ plus causes. Now, this is what I do know with Gen Z is that they care about this stuff. They're very woke. I'm going to say the word. Dare I say the word? They're very woke. They're very aware of what's going on. And so if we can get more youth to come, start giving circles, join giving circles, contribute, guess what? Now, I promise you, they'll be funding organizations led by people of color. They'll be funding organizations that sell LGBTQ because some of them are also part of those communities, right? And so we feel that the model is helpful, y'all, for all of us to disrupt this. All right, I got about 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 7 more minutes, okay? Y'all own this. I'm gonna double down on that everyone is a philanthropist. So after today, I do want y'all to update your resumes, your bios on the narrative, because anytime that you give, contribute, help a neighbor, you are a philanthropist. Don't let nobody tell you did something different. All right, so we talked about the what. Y'all feel good? Y'all still with me? Okay, we talked about the what is a giving circle. We talked about why people are starting giving circles, why this model is so important, right? Let's talk about the how giving circles look in real life. Starting with mine. This is me and my sisters. We're based out of Dallas. Oh, we were so cute and young. I was like 15 pounds smaller. But my giving circle is called Heritage Giving Fund. We are a Dallas-based Black women's giving circle. It's about, I think I would say we have about 50 members, about 38 truly active, like giving, We focus on very small organizations with budgets less than $1 million that serve women and girls in North Texas. Our members' contributions vary. We allow members to self-select what amount that they want to give annually. But every single member, regardless of your level, so if you select the $500 level or the $2,500, that's based off your own capacity to give. But every member gets one vote for all of our collective decisions. So that way, that's built-in equity and trust with one another. So we're not saying that your $2,500 gives you more agency and voice than my $500. This is about our collective impact. And so we award grants up to about 10K and give grants to about 7 to 10 grantee partners or so when we are active. So that's heritage. But let's talk about some teen giving circles. Oh, this is my favorite. Let's talk about Lily Messing. Y'all should. I love Lily. I've interviewed her, talked about her. She's been featured a lot. You know why? Because Lily in good old Tucson, Arizona, she decides that she wanted to, Lily Messing, she got the 2022 Outstanding Youth in Philanthropy Award because she was 17 at the time when she started her first giving circle. She was at the Gregory School, some private school in Tuscan. And so she was like, you know what? My mom is a member of the 100 Women Who Care Tucson. Well, how come we can't just like replicate what they're doing? And so she did. She got with her mom and said, Mom, now 100 Women Who Care is a huge network. Y'all can find out about them. They're a huge network, Giving Circle Network, 100 women that give $100, blah, blah, blah. And so she took their model and said, I'm going to do one with my friends. And so she started the first ever 100 Teen Who Care chapter out of Tucson, Arizona. Y'all, in less than 2 years, this young lady went from one giving circle to starting 24 giving circles across the United States. And we're baffled by her, but the model is brilliant. She brings teens between the grades of 9 through 12 together. They have an opportunity to make a difference. They each give $100 annually, which is $25 at the quarterly meetings. And then so they give at the quarterly meetings $25. They meet every quarter. And so they try to get 100 teens giving $25. So that, if I do that math right, that's like $2,500 per quarter. And every quarter they allocate out a grant. So they give a $2,500 grant basically 4 times a year. Does that make sense? And so since then, Lily actually, she has thought, why can't I drop this thing? Lily has, I just want to share real quick this website. This is her, this is Lily. And these are all the chapters, y'all. So now she's so ambitious. Now I think she's at Columbia now, but she's graduated from high school and living her best life in her college university while also starting 24 giving circles. There's even one in Baltimore. There's one in Chicago. Shout out Chi-Town. There's 100 Teens Who Care Chicago. Each one of them has their own chapter leader. And so these are all the giving circles that's in the nation. Now she's starting them international, starting with her first international giving circle, which is going to be based in Israel. How amazing is that, right? So shout out to Lily. The Baltimore Teen Giving Circle is another giving circle. They're based out of Maryland. They also mirrored the Women's Giving Circle of Baltimore, which is a huge, thriving giving circle, very, very, very active and vibrant giving circle based in Baltimore. So also, I guess this is the offspring of the Women's Giving Circle. And so they started the Baltimore Teen Giving Circles. Their focus changed every single year. Each of the members, they very similar to the 100 Teens Who Care model, that they give $100 annually. 100% of their donations are given out at the grant cycle during the annual meeting. We also have giving circles that are international, y'all. Look at this one. This is a teen giving circle, the Global Sojourns Giving Circle. They are a circle that allows teens to contribute, but also for their parents to contribute. So you can look at them as kind of like a family giving circles, because the teens basically go to their parents and say, hey, won't you match my gift, mom, dad? And so they pull the money in, and their focus area is on breaking the cycle of poverty. And so once members can this typo, members can self-select their giving level. They can get $55 annually that covers writing supplies, journals, and books for the organizations that they serve. Or they can select $500, which covers field trips for girls, for young girls that are experiencing poverty and such like that, taking them out of their community. or all the way up to $10,000. And so that's just an example of another international giving circle. And the last example that I will share is the honeycomb giving circle. Before I open this up for questions, the honeycomb giving circle, y'all, you might be saying, okay, Ty, giving circles, they seem like a lot of work. Well, can I just like, is there a baby giving circle? Well, it is. Honeycomb started their first pop-up giving circle for teens. They said, hey, we understand these teens are busy. Some of them are trying to balance so much with school work and all the good stuff. What if we did the whole cycle of a giving circle in 90 minutes for a pop-up giving circle? So Honeycomb is a Jewish youth philanthropy organization. They work with teens to host a 90-minute teen pop-up giving circle model. The focus area is different. So if the teens decide they want to focus on homelessness or focus on early childhood education, it all depends on the members. The members, they come together, and within 90 minutes, they talk about their values, they decide on what they want to focus, they even nominate and suggest nonprofits that's in alignment with their focus and their values, and then they contribute. They give the money to the fund, all within 90 minutes, and they grant it out. I promise you, it sounds like a lot, but I've seen this. I've operated a youth pop-up giving circle, and we've made it happen all within 90 minutes. So if this is good for, if you just like, well, can I get a taste, or can I just host an event around a giving circle? This is the model to use that. So you don't always have to start like a long-term one. Some of y'all just want to host just the event. Totally, the model can be applied in an event form type setting. You don't have to have a long standing giving circle. All right, so I time check. Remy, I've been talking for 38 minutes. I want to do just stop for a second to answer any questions that y'all might have. And then if y'all want me to kind of get into the tactical steps that it takes to I was going to share some more examples of a giving circle, but I think we've had enough, and I also want to hear from y'all. But we'd love for y'all to open up the floor of any questions you have. If y'all want me to go into the how, well, like Ty, the actual steps, how do you do all the things? I can do that, or we can use this next 10 to 15 minutes just to talk, and then I can share these resources in the toolkit afterwards. But I want to be fluid since it's a small group. Let's use this time the way that we want, okay? And I'm gonna take a sip of my water while y'all process all what I have talked at you for 35 minutes.
Do we just shoot our questions out there, or did you want to do a process? Okay. Well, my first one's an easy one too. Well, none of them are. You said the 5 T's, and I got time, talent, testimony. What were the other 2?
Okay. Time, treasure, ties, testimony, and I'm missing one.
Talent.
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 Yep, we got him. Perfect.
You got him?
So, and okay. I think my next 2 questions actually are kind of what you would, this next piece you were going to talk about, because I was going to ask the legalities involved when you're talking about people coming together, giving money, and the kind of that element, but especially when you're talking students who are under 18. So are there legal issues or things that contracts or things that need to be signed, or do they just come together and kind of have an agreement type of a thing? We would like that it all goes smoothly, but I was curious, just being a high school teacher, knowing, the legal issues we often run into with my students trying to do things even as simple as opening a bank account that we would run into. So that was one. And then my second question was just even on that consensus building process, do you find each of the groups kind of do something different, or there's kind of a core way they go about those? So those were 2 of the questions that I had written down.
Sure thing. Wonderful questions, Janet. Okay, the legality piece. Many giving circles are semi-formal, okay? And so even with some of the, now if you are working, let's just say you are educated, you're a teacher, and you wanted to start a giving circle at the school, then yes, I would defer to the school to kind of figure out what those parameters look like, what that mutual of understanding, the permissions, all this stuff, because you're doing it within an organization. Now, if you were starting a youth-led giving circle like Lily was, hers was, it wasn't tied to a school, it was an independent giving circle, it wasn't a 501c, it was just, she started her giving circle on Grapevine, which is a platform that's free to use for members to give. She just basically established a governance, like a MOU, like, hey, okay, as if you join the giving circles, here's what, what the requirements are, and here's our community guidelines and all of that good such. So really, Janet, it depends on the organization, or if you're starting it at the individual level. I would say that, if you go formal route, community foundation, or through an organization, and you're working with teens that are under 18, and then every state is different. Here in Texas, they consider 17 an adult, right? And so you'll have to operate within those legalities of the organization that you're trying to start the circle in. And me and you can talk offline about that for sure, like specifically like for your community. But as far as just like an independent, hey, I want to start a giving circle on my own, will love, inviting any teen, right? You'll kind of like define those parameters. Hey, teens, make sure you check with your mom if you're under 18, right? It's more informal, where you're creating those rules of agreement and rules of engagement and all of that, the governance side. It just varies. Now on the you said on the decision making or whatnot, many, if not most all, giving circles are very consensus based. And so all members have a say-so. Every member, I can't think of a giving circle. Maybe there's some out there, but the majority of ones that I know of this 4,000 piece, I would say the majority of them are consensus based, meaning every member has agency and a voice and has a say-so in where those funds are deployed. Now, it's kind of like we provide you with the option, but you can kind of lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it, right? And so if you're a member of a giving circle, engagement depends on how much you engage with the circle. So that's why you heard me say, Janet, we have 50 members, but maybe 38 or so that are active. Because, giving circles are ebbs and flows. Maybe a person lost their job, but they're still kind of like trying to, stay within a giving circle, but yet they've had to adjust their giving level and all that kind of stuff. But regardless of the fact, all members have one vote, ideally, one vote, a say-so in how a say-so in the grants of the nonprofits that y'all choose, all of that good such. Now, again, consensus doesn't mean all, it just means the majority, right? So it means whoever shows up to vote, whoever shows up to actually give, right? You have a say-so. You don't give, you have no say-so. You don't give, you have no vote, right? And so that's what we mean by consensus. Great questions.
Thank you. That was good. Great answer. Great answer.
Yes, I'll be trying, Janet. I try.
Hi, Ty. I have a question. Thank you for that presentation. I think it was really great. I'm really curious about like the pop-up giving circles and how they do in comparison to like maybe a traditional giving circle. Like, do you find that one is more efficient? Do you find that like, in terms of like just, I guess, actual dollars that they raise in like that period of time that they're operating, or like number of organizations that they touch in any given time period? Do you find that they're touching more often than other giving circles? If you know that, I was just curious.
Yeah, of course. No, another great question. So I love pop-up giving circles. I'm a little biased. My boss was like, Ty, advocate for long-term giving circles. Remy, take that out of the recording. But no, I really, I like pop-up giving circles because they're like, it's like, if I don't like the pie, I don't want to eat the whole thing, but maybe I just want a bite of it to see what it's like, right? So to answer your question, I think they're very effective. I'll tell you one story real quick, Allie. We did a pop-up giving circle with Google. Okay. Now, I didn't know this. I mean, I've heard Googlers get paid a lot, but it really came to life at the pop-up giving circle. We did it with their their employee resource group for Black History Month. And so we did 90 minutes. came together, talked about, they decided that they wanted to fund justice-oriented organizations based in Bay Area because that's where they were based. And when the time came for us to start, okay, well, you guys, donations are open. So yeah, let's just see. We set a goal for like $5,000. We were like 90 minutes, it's on a Tuesday. Let's see how much we can raise. We ended up raising $31,000 in 90 minutes. Now, when the contributions was coming through, I was like, I gotta get my kids into tech. But I mean, literally, they were like dropping $2,500. It's just like random, right? Like who has, I guess Googlers have $3,000, $500 to just randomly drop. But it blew our mind. And so for us, we were like, that was $31,000 that they raised on the spot. It was just a beautiful experience because we actually invited, like there was some pre-vetting. I can't say this. There's some pre-work that's required on the pop-up for us to be most effective in that 90 minutes, just so you know. And we have a whole toolkit at philanthropytogether.org that literally lays out a play-by-play rubric of how you can organize the pop-up. But they got so emotional, Allie, the group. They were so excited that they ended up calling the lady, because they had 2 speakers to come out and talk about their org. The one that they decided on, they were like, can we just call her back and tell her that we raised $31,000? And we did all of that live. She was in tears. She wasn't expecting this. She was a very small, justice-oriented organization that just got a $31,000 gift just on a Tuesday. It just was amazing. So I would say I love the pop-ups. If you're looking for something rapid, hey, you know what? This nonprofit, we want to provide a grant like today. We don't want to wait to fundraise for a year. It's very effective in that way. So I see pop-ups as being a very accessible model, especially for youth, because y'all be booked and busy. I mean, I say that, but y'all really are. Y'all really are. And also y'all have like terrible attention span. So I just feel like, sometimes giving circles is contained. It's an event. Get y'all hyped up. Everybody can do it. And then y'all can go on your dates and go have fun with your lives and stuff, right? So I really like the model of the giving circle specifically for our younger people, emerging leaders, or also for those who just want to move some resources very quickly, or for those who are like, I don't know if I'm ready for a long-term giving circle, but I want to do something right now. So yes, to pop-up giving circles.
Thank you.
Sorry, you did not ask me for that whole story about Google, but I'm hoping that
I think that was really helpful to see, because like that something like we have moved away from as a foundation. And I think Sarah put something in the chat. I just like didn't see. Yeah, also I'm parked now. I just arrived at.
Good.
I'm like no longer driving. But I think something that we have shifted away from was giving circle. I mean, not giving circles, was giving day. Not shifting away from giving circles. And because like we found like a lot of the same organizations were getting like selected over and over again. And so I think really do appreciate kind of like that shift. And we're working on our colleague Ryan. I sent him the invite to this call. Hopefully can send him the recording. Is working on a giving circle here at the foundation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm happy to support you all. Like we actually even have a philanthropy together. So we work in the realm of, we have 3 signature programs. Allie, just shameless plug here. We have Lunchpad for You. Remy knows a lot about that one. That's for individuals looking to start a giving circle. So teens, anybody, any individual that's looking to start a giving circle, they can go. I facilitate that training. It's every month. Then we have Lunchpad for nonprofits. If y'all know of a nonprofit and they're like, hey, we've really been struggling with our fundraising. We need to diversify our donor base. We take the model of relationship building, bringing people together, right? And help nonprofits to beef up their development efforts. So we have that. And then we have Lunchpad for hosts, specifically for community foundations or foundations in general, because that's a whole different piece of the pie is when y'all are hosting a giving circle. So that way we can train y'all on like what that looks like in terms of the circle operating, your agency from a staff component, how y'all are managing it, boundaries around that, workload. Like it's just a lot of talking to your board about it, your staff. Like it's just some nuances that community foundations have to kind of go through specifically to start a giving circle. So we cover all of that through our 3 primary signature trainings. And of course, all of that can be found at philanthropytogether.org. But wonderful questions. These are all good.
Yeah, and to build off that, I'll go ahead. Sarah had put into the chat the question about asking if you've ever worked with a community foundation that has worked with youth to start a giving circle and what the challenges were. And there's also another question that had been sent earlier that from someone that wasn't able to join, but pretty similar to that. But for youth that are, especially those that are graduating our TPI programs that might be going into college, how easy might it be for them to start a giving circle, especially on their own? So I guess 2 similar questions that I just wanted to toss over to you as well.
The first one was from the foundation. Sarah's from a foundation,
Yes.
Remy?
Yeah, Sarah's asking, if there's community foundations that have worked specifically with youth, if there's any challenges there.
Yeah, okay. So then I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. This is for all of y'all, but I'm gonna give you a little slice of what it would take to start a giving circle at the community foundation level. These are our 8 jelly beans, y'all. And we put colors here because colors make people happy and feel like they can just kind of compartmentalize steps instead of being overwhelmed. For all of you, community foundation level, team level, these are the 8 core questions for any of us to start a giving circle. This is the how. This literally is the how. How do you start one? Well, you first have to start with your why. Why do you want to start a giving circle, which is super duper important. And I was prepared to kind of talk through that, but you got to ask that why. Why do you want to start? Because the why will anchor you in the what you will fund, who the members need to look like, all of that good stuff. So you start with your why. And with anything we do, right? You start a business, you got to start with why you're starting a business, right? To determine, right? So giving circles are no different. Then we just go into the what. What is going to be the focus of your giving circle? What would y'all want this giving circle to focus on? Is the focus area going to change year to year? To your point, I live like seeing the same type of organizations this helps with that. Because guess what? You won't find the same thing if you have a different focus area every year. And so the focus area is different. Some circles, and I'll just share this real quick. Some circles focus on specific issues. Some of them focus on specific populations of people, like serving LGBTQ plus serving organizations to fulfill that 1 point less, what was that? Less than 0.328% gap that we have, right? Some of them are population or demographic focused, geography focused, international. Ours is based in North Texas, right? We don't focus on anything specific, but we are a identity based, because we're a Black women's giving circle that serve organizations in North Texas. So you see that intersection. So like the focus area, I'm kind of going back and forth, but what's the focus? Then you'll get into, well, how big is the circle going to be? How big is the circle going to be is contingent on how much money that y'all will have, right? The more members you have, the probably more money that you raise, but sometimes not necessarily, because we've seen giving circles like, that have 25 members, and if they're each giving 10K each, then wow, right? I'm just saying that's a huge amount. But the size of your giving circle is important as it relates to being realistic about you managing a big group, small group, and also how much y'all will be able to pool resources. And that also ties into the 4th question of the day, which is how much will members contribute? Well, how much? When I'm thinking about, I told you I have 5 kids. When I think about their capacity to give, I'm like $25, their allowance or something. I'm just saying, or, but my capacity is different. I'm at the $1,000 mark for my giving circle, right? And so every circle should really think about their members. What kind of members do you have? Are these mid-career professionals? Are these young teens between 12 and 18? Are these retirees, baby boomers who are sitting on tons of wealth? Right? And so how much will the members contribute will vary based off who the members are that's going to be part of your giving circle. How will your giving circle find and decide, to your question, Janet, how will y'all decide on these groups? How are we going to vet them? How do we consider them? Are we going to do a consensus base? Are we going to, yes? All right, well then are we going to do an open call when the time comes for us to go public and share with the world that we have grants to give? Are we going to do like a open call? Are we going to do nominations only where our members only can nominate nonprofits? Right. And so those are some decisions around that. How often will we meet? Do we want to be like 100 teens who care and meet quarterly? Want to be like Heritage? We meet quarterly, but we do one grant cycle annually, right? And so how often will you meet? Where y'all gonna meet? When? What time of day? Right? We ask those kind of questions to get y'all, because the meeting pieces is very important, right? Who's gonna run the circle? Is it you, Allie, at the Community Foundation? Or you're like, no, we actually want the circle to take the lead on running and managing the donation. We just want to be the fiscal sponsor and handle their donations only, but we want them to handle the program pieces of it. Or wait, no, let's think about some committees. Maybe we can up and have some committees going to kind of help us to manage and sustain the circle, right? And then the last piece is how we're going to keep sharing it out. The circle is up and thriving. How are we going to keep sharing it out to the world so that they know about our impact, so we can also recruit new members? You always have life is lifing all of us, right? So you all have members coming in, sometimes members that never go away. We know that the average time a person has in a giving circle is 7 years. So giving circle members are very loyal, by the way, very loyal. And they tend to grow. They tend to stay with the circle as their capacity give. So if you start a youth giving circle while they're 18, chances are when they become a Googler and make $300,000 a year, they'll go from $25 to dropping $2,500 like we saw, right? And so we see that trajectory and that level of growth grows as long as the member stays engaged in the circle. And so these are y'all core pieces, foundation level, all the way to the individual level. If I was talking to my son, who is one of them is 14, and he's like, Mom, I want to start a giving circle, I will work with him on talking through some of these things. Now, this is what I also would mention, is that you cannot start a giving circle alone. You cannot start a giving circle alone. Do not recommend. You have to have a founding team to work with you on these 8 core pieces. Okay, now notice I said founding team. I didn't say members. When you are building something, it's kind of like Amazon and all this startup companies, even my organization, Philanthropy Together, we had to build it first. Core, we kept it small, where we got the organization tight, right? Our mission, right? And then once we got to the grade piece of sharing, okay, we're live, Philanthropy Together, it was time for us to bring in others to join us in this movement. This is no different. When you're starting something, we suggest a giving circle. We suggest y'all having at least 3 to 5 founding members, 3 to 5 diverse members. And diversity matters, I think, because you don't want to have just everybody that's exactly the same. You want some lenses, as y'all are talking about, well, what should be the focus area? Well, if all of us are moms that care about environmental, I mean, I guess that could work, but you do want to have diversity in terms of talents, because you might need somebody to start your social medias or go start your website or whatever, start with the comms and marketing. Maybe one of your friends is good at communications. So 3 to 5 founding members. You and those 3 to 5 founding members, y'all kind of silo it for a moment and talk through these 8 decision-making pieces together. Name of the giving circle, all of that. Because what we have found is that people are more likely to join anything when there's structure there. So you don't want to invite people, hey, y'all want to join our giving circle? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. What's the name of it? I'm not sure. We actually are trying to decide on the name. Okay, well, where are y'all meeting? What time are you meeting? Actually, that's a good question. I think we're right. People are going to be like, you come back to me once you kind of have your thoughts together. So the 3 to 5 members y'all will work together. And I even have a canvas that I can share with Remy to share with y'all to go through these kind of steps of a giving circle. So I'll stop there, and then I'm going to so Remy, so that you can answer me any other questions you have. This is that canvas, y'all, of like, who is your founding team members? It's going to be Ty and Janet and Sarah. And then we're going to come together and decide on why the heck we want to start this giving circle. What's going to be our values? What are we going to be focusing on? What's our targeted number of members in this first year? Should we meet twice a year? Janet, you're busy. Okay, well, yeah, no, you're right. We probably should meet quarterly. Let's do bi-annually, right? Like, so y'all, you and your founding team will work through that. And once y'all work through that, I promise you that sets you up for the next steps of a giving circle. This is a busy slide, but stick with me. You do not worry about the yellow, the teal until you and your founding team knock out the blue and the yellow. So step one of starting a giving circle, find your founding team. You and your founding team will come together to then finalize your vision, your name, your mission, the processes. Y'all will see what I have in that second bullet point. You will work through the different questions of the giving circle, right? This may take 1 or 3 meetings. I'm gonna be real with you. That's why I say you can't start a giving circle by yourself, because who you gonna talk to and ask questions of? Please don't talk to yourself and answer 8 questions by yourself. Y'all work with a friend, because we're stronger together, okay? And then once y'all figure that out, y'all like, whoa, we got it, Ty. We got our name. We are the Remington Giving Circle of Chicago. Great. All right. And we're going to all the stuff. Now it's time. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Y'all see that? We're ready for blue. Let's put that bad baby out there. And then bye. We're ready to recruit our members. We're ready basically to hold our first meeting to really start pulling our resources together to get us ready for our first and official grant cycle. Does all that make sense, y'all? I'm doing this for recording purposes as well. We have a whole toolkit. All of those 8 questions with the jelly beans and the yellow and the blue, all of it is color coded beautifully in our Giving Circle toolkit that we've created specifically for y'all. And so we have this, you can scan or go to philanthropytogether.org. We've actually already posted the toolkit there, and it takes you through the steps, even has little prompts, y'all, like links that connects you to other links. You can get lost in the sauce of our toolkit because it's designed to be very interactive in real time to work with you and your founding team for y'all to actually start a giving circle. And reminder that we do also still have we also still have the pop-up giving circle toolkit there as well. So we have whichever pathway that you'll like to take on your giving circle, we have a resource for you.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that actually answers another question that I gotten was basically what is the best way for us to pass this on to the youth? I think there's, Launchpad, there's these different resources. Anyone's more than welcome to reach out to me or to Ty directly. But yeah, there's a lot of resources that would help, if young people in programs want to start their own programs. And I think the last question that I had seen, and I've had a few times, is just how does this align with what the youth in the TPI programs are already doing? And I think it's interesting that it lines up. They're doing grant making already, right? So they understand what grant making looks like. Fundraising is, can look differently for every purpose. So that's what a giving circle is raising these funds. And it's just in a specific way that it's going to be done sometimes. But I think the last element is a lot of the strategic volunteerism, the intentionality behind the actions that youth take. I think, like Ty mentioned, it's going beyond that dollar aspect and really saying, okay, sure, maybe, if someone graduates from a TPI program, says, I love that work, I want to keep doing it, how do I do this? I can't do it by myself. Right. So I go to college, I can find, 3-4 other people. We start this giving circle process, and you can kind of replicate your experience of giving grants, being able to fundraise, and really put that strategy behind the work that you're doing. So you can say, yeah, maybe we're college students, we can only give 20, 25, $50 a semester or something like that, but we can do a lot more with our time as well. So I think that's really, it's kind of just using everything that they've learned in the high school programs, whether they start the program or the giving circle in the program. It's just a tool. It's a tool for their toolkit as philanthropists for the rest of their lives. And I think that's kind of really where that ties into it and what they're able to find with that. So yeah, exactly.
Well said. That's a wonderful way to wrap, Remy. I totally agree. And I just my last final thought, y'all, is that I can't think of a more relevant time for us to come together to pool resources to support these nonprofits, especially many of them relied on federal funding with all the things that's going on. This is going to be here, this environment for the least the next, what, who's counting down 3 years or whatever days, right? And so we might come out of this thing and see nonprofits that have literally closed their doors, right? If we do not step up to help support local community-based organizations, they are begging philanthropy to see them, to support them, to support their work, to fulfill vital social services. So I love this quote that Satter, my CEO, did an amazing TED Talk that I highly recommend, y'all. It's 12 minutes, but it'll fire you up if you're not already. But she talks about how money, all of the money in the world will not save us, but we will save us coming together outside of our treasure, but pooling our resources and all the 5 T's that we talked about earlier. And so I truly believe that we are the remedy, we are the solution to everything that our communities are facing right now, more than ever. So I encourage all youth facilitators, people that are engaged with youth, mamas of youth, whatever, okay? If we have any proximity to pour into the next generation, we tell them that you have the power to create change, to be a part of solutions. There is no prerequisite to philanthropy. There's no prerequisite to doing good. We need our young people. We need them right now. And so that will be just my call to action for all of us to just, let's continue to work together, come together. We're stronger together and we're better together if we do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just, if anyone else has any questions now or later, always more than welcome to reach out to anyone that you can, me, Ty, whoever it is. We're all here to support. I know that a lot of our programs are also wrapping up the year right now. So this is kind of that intermediate planning period between years. I think this is a great time to consider, what does it look like when you're connecting the young people you have in your program with their next steps, with what they are going to be owning themselves as philanthropists. And I think this is a really unique and interesting approach for that. And so I think is a great time for all of our programs to really consider it, especially the programs that we're going to be accumulating in the future. So yeah, but again, I just want to say thank you, Ty, for going through all that. A lot of slides, a lot of words. I think they're all good.
I'm sorry, Remy.
No, not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad. Truly, I think it's so great because it's a difficult concept to get across. Not just the fact that, why would we do this, but how does it work? All that stuff. So again, always happy to have you talk about it. Always happy to talk to you and kind of relay that message on. So appreciate you coming in, talking to us, and talking to everyone else. So really, thank you for all that.
Of course. And I see Sarah's in the chat. I dropped my one-on-one link, y'all. I'll be around. I love the 3 pillars. Remy, like, again, we've been talking about how we can bring this model to youth and just all the spaces and places. And this matters. I don't care if it was 4 people, 3 people. It's just my mindset is like one person at a time to open their hearts up to the impact of this model, the possibility of how you can make it make sense within your own community. And if it is, then let's talk. Let's get you to start a giving circle or join a giving circle or support a giving circle that's already existing, right? That's my goal. And so I put my one-on-one link there. If y'all want to talk, chat, have other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. And then Sarah, just, you're welcome for the presentation. I don't know if there's so many giving circles that existed. There's so many, by the way. I wish we were able to quantify like how many women giving circles in here and all that kind of stuff. But have you ever worked with a foundation that's worked? Yeah. And so I think some of the only challenges that we have heard from community foundations, and I know we're at time, from some of the youth giving circles is one, what Janet asked earlier was like, can I reach out to youth? Can I talk to them directly? Where's the boundaries around that?
Right.
And I wouldn't even say that that's a challenge. That's just more so of something to think through, right? And then also just the engagement. How do we make it fun? How do we make it, engage with them to where they keep showing up and don't show up for just one meeting, right? And so we have quite a bit of experience around that, being that you have to make engagement live and meet them where they are. So gathering host a meeting at places that they actually want to be at. Right. And so like things like that matters with youth specifically, because if it's not fun and engaging, they will blackball it. Pretty much.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like my kids, like, right? So I have to finesse a little bit, talk that, to kind of get them, okay, mom, all right. So then I can hook them a little bit. So you got to find that hook for the teen giving circles. Lily found that hook 24 times. They're all the same in the model, but the hook, her language, every community was so different. She tweaked the language. And then I'm happy to connect y'all with any of those leaders that are in those communities those are very active and thriving youth-led giving circle network. That is the only youth-led network of giving circles that was started by a 17-year-old 2 years ago. Amazing.
It really is incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you again. And yeah, I know we're a little bit of time now, so I'll go ahead and wrap up at that. But any more questions, always happy to answer them, and look forward to continuing the conversation with everyone. Thank you all for hopping on, and then everyone else that asked for the recording, I'll go ahead and send the recording. I'll send Ty's information, all the stuff that she dropped in, so everyone else can keep the conversation going. So thank you again.
See y'all.
Thanks, Ty.
Take care of yourselves. You're welcome. See y'all.
Thanks, Tay.
Bye.
Yeah.
Be safe driving, Ellie.
Exactly. Looks like she made it. Woo!